This is the AM show. Welcome back. We're going to tell you a story about something you already know about. Cocoa. Yes. It's all about the premiere of this new film, Reclaiming Cocoa, which peels back the layers of this complex industry, taking viewers on a journey from the lush cocoa farms of Ghana to the polished chocolate shells in Switzerland, where they don't grow any cocoa, by the way. And of course, their famous chocolate consists mostly of Ghanaian beans. Well, joining me in the studio, I have one of them here joining the conversation. He's a filmmaker, he's a producer, he's in the person of Philippe Stalder. He's an investigative filmmaker from Switzerland. We also have Nana Aduna II, Achiamehene of Ikuapem traditional area. I noticed when I butchered it the first time, you Achiamehene of the Ikuapem traditional area.
Tried.
I like your shirt, by the way. What is in there? Afritude.
Exactly.
African attitude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which is very, very important for cocoa.
Which is?
Extremely.
Yeah. but even before I bring in Philippe, who's director-producer for Reclaiming Cocoa, and we talk about it, from you are integrated in the system.
Yes.
You're a farmer, are you?
Yes. I'm a farmer and many other things as well.
I was just referencing before we came on air, the Ghanaian Times back page today, restore hope to cocoa sector farmers. Is this a call how does this feed into what we're about to
this
discuss?
is even an understatement.
It is.
From where we are coming from. This is an understatement, complete understatement.
Yes. What's the state of cocoa farming in Ghana, if I asked you?
I think it is abysmal. If you actually, in terms of how we the farmers feel, it's completely abysmal. It is an insult. Complete.
Why?
Because historically, that is how it was set up. And we've actually not done much in terms of actually changing the sector to our advantage.
So since the colonial era?
Since the colonial era, before the colonial era, because there's a very interesting link between the transatlantic slavery and cocoa, which because we don't investigate or tell our history, our stories properly, we completely miss the link. And the honest truth is that it was brought from South and Central America by the Europeans, close enough directly for them to grow, for us to grow, for them to take. It was Central and South America is far away.
Yeah.
Africa is close. We were the slaves who were growing the thing in the Caribbean. It was very easy for them to, when they decided that, okay, so let's relocate the industry here and short trip
closer
to Europe. Yeah.
Better shipping route.
Exactly. And this whole Fernando Po
story.
Yeah, Sao Tome. It was actually the Portuguese who were slave owners who actually brought that system to that part of the world, which is just off the West African coast. And they were actually importing and using slaves from around the countries there. And the whole shift to the Gold Coast in particular was engineered by Cadburys, and Cadburys were Quakers. And the Quakers, anybody who remembers Quaker oats? Yeah, it was because Quakers were like the liberals. Oh, we don't like this, we don't like that, we are anti-slavery, no. But they actually benefited. The British, for example, paid a significant amount of money to slave owners, including the Quakers. So it's just been a game.
It's been a circle.
It's just been a game.
And speaking about the historical antecedents, I would like you to touch on that, Philippe. But first off, why this film in the first place? Why this film? Why?
So this whole project started when the former Guinean president visited Switzerland, and he made this famous statement in 22 where he announced that Ghana is going to reduce the export of raw beans and wants to enhance local processing and local value addition. So this triggered the investigation, but then we found out very quickly that it doesn't really work out this way, that a lot of the local processing, even under this system, would still be done by multinational companies or registered in the tema-free zone. They don't even pay tax on their profits. So it's like a continuation of the colonial model, which Nana just mentioned. And then we took a deep dive also into the traceability claims of the Western chocolate companies, who basically tell their customers that if you pay a little bit extra to buy like a chocolate bar with a label that says ethical cocoa, that you can basically consume chocolate with a clean conscience. But so we did some investigations into these value chains, and we realized that a lot of the traceability claims, they don't add up. The beans are being mislabeled. And basically, it's a marketing scheme on the neck of the cocoa farmers. Because
And you see some of them produced, and you see Africa this and Ghana that, but technically, some of them are not following, like you said. The value chains are mere claims, and it's also feeding back into Europe, not even right here in Ghana.
So the value chain, it does end up in Ghana, but they claim that they work with registered farms, where no deforestation is taking place, no child labor is taking place. So we actually tested this claim, and we sent an unregistered farmer to sell a bag of beans into the value chain, the delivery chain of a Swiss chocolate consumer.
Let me guess, it was successful.
You will have to come and watch the movie.
To find out more. To find out more.
What does this expose then when it comes to corruption in the system? And that's for you quickly, and I'll come to you on that as well.
Okay.
To me, it just shows that there's still a long way to go in terms of working on the issues that are present.
For you, Nana?
Okay, I think that let me just first quickly acknowledge my Queen Mother, Okuyapihinima, because we had a very significant result yesterday. Our whole Omahini, Okuyapihinima issue was solved by the Supreme Council, so it is only appropriate. And of course, I'm talking about cocoa.
Yeah.
And just back to the question of corruption. And it actually starts with cocoa and the Basel Missionary. Our corruption issues, anybody who has a phone should Wikipedia Reverend Andreas Rees and read about his character. Read about his character. And then we will understand that when they came, they brought a book, but we didn't know how to read it. So we watched their behavior, we watched their character.
Was this book the Bible?
No. In the book, yes, it was the Bible, including other books. But we watched how they behaved. So when we start talking about corruption, I tell people, go and read about the character of Reverend Andreas Rees, plus some of the characters that came. Because, the guys who came, whether they were slave traders, whether they were colonial, whatever, they were not exactly the cream of the crop that came. No. There were lots of thugs that came our way. Lots of thugs. So please, again, just to answer that question of corruption. Now, just going further on, when you don't give someone their real value, and the honest truth is that when you look at our current cocoa board system, in which they say technically they give the farmer 70%, it's actually not true. One. And two.
It's not.
No, it isn't. At the moment, the price is actually 30%. What we're being given is 30% of the FOB, whatever.
Right.
Okay. That's been it's almost like been a simple system of taxation for decades to centuries. If you actually also understand that syndicated loan model.
I was just about to go there.
It's actually it's a scam.
It is?
I own something, or we Ghana own something. Then we go and borrow money to buy something we own. Does it make sense? And you do that for 32 years in succession.
But apparently you don't have the money to purchase the beans.
Then then the middleman...
You take the money. I am not in support of the syndicated loan system.
Okay.
Just understand.
Okay.
My position is that we can do better. Because it was a stopgap measure. It was at a point supposed to be, this time we don't have the funds, let's borrow. And then it became the norm rather than the exception.
Yeah.
But I am saying, they also say we don't have the funds to do this.
You and who don't have the funds?
We're going to take the money from these banks, make the purchases, and then we make commitments to them so that then they
President Mahama made a very interesting comment before he came into office, that we should not sabotage the farmers, or the bureaucracy should not compete with the production.
Right.
The syndicated loan and all of it just funds the bureaucracy. After all, we don't buy the cocoa ourselves. the external, whatever,
Yeah.
if you are looking, is particularly with the chocolate industry. Of course, there are other factors which we have to look at. You know, as soon as you have a product which you do not utilize or consume yourself, you are at the mercy of those who are actually using it, which is why we're wearing this T-shirt called Attitude.
It's an important point you make, Philippe,
Yeah.
because actually, if you look at how many Ghanaians consume chocolate, you would be surprised. I don't know what you've done on that. But let's get back to your documentary, which is actually teaser awarded Best Short Documentary. That's the Lagos Royal Cocoa International Film Festival. What does this documentary titled Reclaiming Cocoa, what does it bring to the fore?
So it has three different parts. In the first part, we look at the problems that Nana just has mentioned, that I touched upon, the traceability issues. Then in the second part, we look at the reasons for this problem, which is A, historical, but B, is also current national legislation, which, for example, also hinders local producers of cocoa products from accessing the beans, because they have to pay an import duty on the beans if they want to buy them if they want to buy semi-finished products from the government. And then the third part, we look at possible solutions. So there we highlight 5 different local companies that found a way of adding value to cocoa, not only to chocolate. Only one of the 5 is a chocolate company. 4 others, they found alternative uses of adding value to cocoa locally. And this is kind of the end of it, where we present possible solutions on how actually Ghana could reclaim the cocoa and add value locally.
I'll come back to you in a bit. How does this documentary aid you, farmers, those of you in the value chain? How does it help expose
I
the
think
issues?
that this documentary would not have been possible, first and foremost, without external support, and not from an NGO, but from an individual. Because otherwise it would have been sabotaged and would have been killed off before it even saw the light.
Sabotaged by whom?
By the interested parties that want the status quo remain.
Who are these parties?
Oh, one would be our own cocoa board, because that is actually a machinery that is a relic of the colonial era. Plus,
There's new leadership. Do you think anything will change?
I would imagine that if it doesn't change, the industry will grind to a halt.
Dr. Randy Abe is there now. Would you?
You know, what I would tell Randy, and I know Randy, okay, because I've worked with the Black Stars before. I'm actually, I was a team psychologist in the World Cup. What I would say to Randy, like they always say, football is for football people. Okay. So if you really want to understand cocoa properly, he's a political appointment. And the current machinery, it was set up for a reason.
Right.
And the recent price escalation beyond, and it has actually exposed how irrational our system is, and especially for we, the producers. It is actually criminal. It is slavery, if you ask me. It's almost like, it's just like what they basically just did was they shifted the slave, whatever, to the farms here, and they're sitting there, and then they've appointed our own selves, for example, Cocoa Board, as the puppet masters to get the farmers, yeah.
Nana, what I hear you saying is that, and in some instances it's been proven true, after all, the leaders who took over from the colonial era, it was almost as though the colonizers moved, the imperialists moved, and they got in their place. You're basically saying cocoa farming is like some form of, an extended form of slavery, modern day slavery.
That's exactly what it is. And I'll just highlight that. At the time of independence, Nkrumah was very wise because we needed certain developmental goals, etc. So basically a lot of the stuff, and even pre-independence, look, University of Ghana, Takrady Port, Achimota School, etc. They were all funded by cocoa, Gagisberg, wisely at the time, but it was in their interest. And Nkrumah wisely saw the impact of cocoa. So again, in exchange for that, there's certain things that he talked about, the CMB scholarship, whatever. Those were things, those were carrots and whatever, to cushion and whatever, so that there was, fine, use the cocoa for development, but for the producers, you know, give them certain advantages. Where are those advantages now? Two, the value is in adding value to the stuff. It's not in growing the raw material. So this is, again, this comes back to the point about diversification of what we use the cocoa for. Look, chocolate is not our product, whether we like it or not. We can jump high, wherever in high water. The president going to Switzerland or the ex-president going to Switzerland to say that we'll do chocolate. I'm sorry, and I say it in the movie. Sorry, are we thinking? No, we're not. Because the value that we need to add, we need to look beyond what or how this thing was introduced to us and what it's being used for. We have to find ways in which we utilize the raw material ourselves.
Okay. Let me, as we near the end of this conversation, Philippe, what is the end game of this documentary? And like Nana has rightly said, if not for your intervention, this could have been sabotaged. The powers that be may have, killed it. It would have died a natural death. But it has seen the light of day. What is the end game for you of this documentary? And I'll ask you that same question. And then you can tell us where it's airing, when it's airing.
Okay, so I think for me, what's in the big picture I try to achieve with this project is to kind of build a bridge between the consumers and the producers of this product that so many people around the world love. It's a $130 billion industry. And I came to realize how alienated the two groups are. Many cocoa farmers don't even know that chocolate is being made out of this product, or they haven't tasted chocolate yet in their lives. And many chocolate consumers, they don't really know anything about where the resource is coming from, who produces it, and in which reality these people live. So this is ultimately what I try to do. And yeah, it airs tomorrow, 6 o'clock at the Alliance Franciase. You can all come by, and we will have a panel discussion after the film where we would try to figure out a way on how to move forward.
The film does proffer some solutions, right?
It offers,
like you said,
it offers certain. It's not an absolute solution. It's also not my job as a European filmmaker to present these solutions to Ghana, but we just talk to different people who do certain things that look like they are going into the right direction.
Right. For you, what's the end game? You feature in this documentary.
Yeah, I think the end game for some of us is beginning to have the conversation of real change. It's beginning to see things different. For example, again, a lot of people, when they talk about chocolate, when they talk about cocoa, they equate it to chocolate. But that's a European construct. That's the way they would like us to continue thinking.
I mean, even the husks have their use.
Everything,
Every
right from
aspect of
even
it
the
has its
leaves
use.
of the tree have their use. I mean, I'm a medical doctor by profession in terms of, the health benefits of real chocotil, which is what it was called in the Amazon. The real health benefit, historically, it was called food for the gods. It was reserved for only those, when you were a commoner or plebeian got cocoa, it means you are going to be killed.
You have to use the word plebeian. You have to go into that.
Exactly. It means you're ready for death. So there are many things that it's, for me, the movie, first and foremost, it being done, bringing the awareness, possibilities of change, plus just a proper beginning to end or beginning to current education on cocoa, because a lot of us do not know. We actually assume we know in Ghana, but we don't know we don't know as much about cocoa as we need to, because it's supposed to be the backbone of our economy.
Quick point, lest I forget. Should we do more education on cocoa, maybe talk more about it in our textbooks and stuff like that?
That's a no-brainer.
More documentaries.
That's a complete no-brainer. Something that is supposed to sustain and you build on. Our children and grandfather, whatever, we should be singing about the different aspects of it. Yeah.
I see. Interesting points. I'll take your final thoughts. And just a quick one, though. Is it free, open to the public?
Everybody can come. We charge 100 Ghana cedis to come in.
Okay.
But if
100%.
anybody lacks the funds, you can get in touch with me and we'll find a way.
You'll find a way. Okay. Final words? Any final words?
Thanks a lot for the invitation. Come and see the film.
All right.
Yes,
And
it's a must-see, and I think it's a must-promote. And we do hope that it will start all of us thinking and accelerate the changes that are needed in the cocoa sector.
Thank you. And I love your afritude.
Thank you very much for that. And salute to the designer.
Yeah. He or she should get me one of because
I'll definitely.
I am a Ghanaian and an African with a lot of attitude.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining. We had Nana Aduna II Achiamehene of the Akuapem traditional area. We also had Philippe Stalder, investigative filmmaker from Switzerland. And he, of course, is the producer-director of this award-winning film, Reclaiming Cocoa. It airs at Alliance Francaise tomorrow at 6 p.m. Only for 100 Ghana cedis. Come and get insight. Well, stick and stay. We'll be back on the AM show with more.